Hey everyone. So I have a hair story to share. My hair I was having it done at um, a salon for a couple years, and we had started with like a brown base with some caramel highlights, and then we brought it up to more of a blonde base with even blonder highlights, and I kept it that way for quite a while. Well, I am a person who's very organized. I keep my appointments. If anything has to change, I call well in advance, the whole 9 yards. I was feeling unwell last week and I wasn't able to go to my appointment. So I called in the morning before business hours the day of, and I said, I'm feeling unwell. I can't come in. I need to reschedule, push back, whatever. The person who does my hair is a friend of mine, and the salon where she works has kind of had this on again, off again policy where usually people have to put a deposit down when they call to make their appointments in case they do a no-show. And I get that because, the hairstylist, the hair artist, they work on commissions and everything else. I had paid a deposit a few times and not others because the rule was constantly changing. So eventually it settled into a place for months and months and months where I didn't have to pay a deposit because I always showed up. If I needed to reschedule or push back, I called way in advance, whatever, the whole time. My hair artist, who's also my friend, as I said, over the course of that 2 years, I had gotten phone calls the day of appointments, no less than 4 times, from the salon where they had to push me back and change me because she wasn't feeling well. It's fine. Things happen. It's fine. I happen to be a full-time student and I work part-time. I don't work full-time because I go to school full-time, but it brought to mind all of the people who probably do rearrange their work schedules and whatnot to get their appointments in, because of course it's mostly during normal business hours. So those people don't get, reimbursed for the inconvenience of missing part of, their work or anything else if one of the hair artists calls in sick on the day of the appointment, and then the person who has the appointment has no time to reschedule. You know what I'm saying? Or like can't go into work because they already took off, whatever. So I started thinking about that. Well, when the receptionist called me back, she said, we're happy to reschedule you, but we're going to need to take a deposit. And I'm like, okay, why? Like in 2 years, I have never missed an appointment. I've always called far ahead if I need to change anything, which is very rare because, again, I'm an organized person. Yes, things happen. But they said if I wanted to make another appointment, even though she was my friend, even though I'd never been late, because that was a concession they gave me that I now had to pay the deposit. Well, that did not sit well with me because, again, I started thinking, how many people take off from work so they can have their hair appointments? And it's a frivolous thing. It's hair, like in the scheme of things. World peace isn't at stake. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, why is it a concession for the person making the appointment to not have to make a deposit, but it's not a concession that's created for if the stylist is sick on the day that a person misses work or whatnot to go in, that they get some kind of a discount or something on their service? So I said, thanks, I'll have to think about it, I'll call you back, whatever, hung up. And that left really sort of a bad taste in my mouth. So I texted my friend, who is my hair artist, and I said to her, listen, I know it's not you. I don't agree that I should have to now put a deposit down. It's the principle of the matter. And her boss, again, as I said at the beginning of this, sometimes her boss charges a deposit, sometimes she doesn't. Like, let's decide what our business plan is and stick with it. We all went through the pandemic, right? I totally get that, if you want to insist on a deposit, either make it across the board or make it something you don't do. Don't do it on a case-by-case basis. And if you're going to do it on a case-by-case basis, like was with me, and I'm sure several other people who are also organized and always call ahead and everything else to make any changes, if it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, let it stay that way. This is literally the first time ever in the whole 2 years, and I also bring my daughters there and everything, that I have had to call on the day of and cancel an appointment because of feeling unwell. I shouldn't have to pay for it. So, again, I also have to say the deposit is refundable. And most of you are going to be like, well, then it's fine then. It is fine. It's not the money that's the issue. It's the principle of the matter. So the fact that they're so kind of back and forth and wax and wane with their business practices, I had texted my friend and I told her, listen, I know it's not you, but I'm just not comfortable with that because I like to know precisely what I'm dealing with to the best of my ability at all times. And I just don't think I want to come there anymore. So I went out, I bought some box dye, I colored my hair on my own, which is something I haven't done in a really long time. And I was aiming for like a caramel color. What I came up with was this sort of, there's some blonde there, there's some gray, there's some lavender highlights in it, a little bit of blue, and it's growing on me. It probably won't stay because that's not necessarily what I was aiming for, but in the meantime, I think it's cute and I like it. Also, I have no ill will towards the salon. They're mostly really nice people. It's just the boss needs to have a business plan in place that she sticks with because it's not okay for people to be calling out of work and this and that and not getting any kind of a discount. Okay, for having to inconvenience themselves and potentially miss out on pay when they can insist, for some people, not others, and in certain circumstances, but not others, on a deposit that, while yes, refundable, is so unequivocally hit or miss with who it's going to be for, if it's going to be the permanent policy or not. Like, I have a problem with that business practice. So that's my rant. Feel free to disagree. If you want to leave any comments below, have at it. Don't hate on me. It's just my opinion. It's just my experience. And as a person who provides a service myself, because I'm a yoga instructor and I'm a Reiki master teacher, I would not do that. If you were sick and you called, you know what? We'll reschedule you. It's okay. Life happens. If you make a habit of it, then yes, I'll have to start doing something. But if it's literally just your first time and your only time and you've been a good client, I'm not going to pick on you. Anyway, you guys have a great day. And again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks.